Hello and welcome to Warhammer Wednesday. This week's video will be my review of the Legio Custodes Shield Captain by Forge World. One of these models will cost you £30. It's a fair bit of money, although he is entirely made of resin. As always, I'll talk about the model, look at the detail, do some size comparisons, and then go into the rules and special models. So I'm going to cover the 40k rules first of all, and then the Horus Heresy rules. So yeah, quite a straightforward model to put together. Obviously it's all resin, so you'll need to wash it first, leave it in warm soapy water, take it off all the gates and the sprues and things, and then cut them off those, shave off some of the slippage if there is any, file down some of the mould lines, things like that, and then you're able to glue it together. Went together pretty well. The shoulder pauldrons are huge, absolutely huge. I didn't think that they'd be this big. Yeah, I mean, if we try and compare it to, I mean, they look a little bit bigger. Yeah, I'll probably say they are bigger than standard ones, but I'll be doing a size comparison in a moment. But yeah, really like the spear. I love this curve to it, a bit like a kukri blade, like a machete. Then his Misericordia, he's got his hand on there. Lots and lots of detail on here, on his face. I've moved his head that way rather than sort of, you know, so his face in the way his leg is. The spear's not directly straight, which is fine, unless you move that arm, you know, a fair bit lower, which doesn't sort of work biologically, I want to say, then you're going to be left with a bit of a gap. But with the right basin and things, you could even put like a little stone or a few stones there, so he's resting it on that. This Iron Halo kind of thing, someone asked me if it was easy enough to clip off. Yeah, I suppose so. You can clip the edges off and tidy that up and just have the eagle. You don't have to have this headdress on. You know, it is, yeah, relatively straightforward to snip that off if you don't want that on there. It does look like a big crown that he's got on, so I understand people wishing to lop that off. Love the 3D detail on the wreath there. Absolutely beautiful. So much depth. I'll see if I can sort of zoom in. But yeah, you get that sense of depth in there in between each kind of leaf. So yeah, a lot of detail there. The haircut may not be for everyone, but at least to the side, you're going to see that profile. The tassets, these armor plates for the thighs, they are part of the legs, so they're not interchangeable. You can't put the plastic ones on. I do like this little kind of stone feature that he's resting his leg on. I like the bolter on here. Just be careful when you're drilling it out. I sort of clipped the edge of the barrel a little bit with my drill, so green stuff that in, and that'll come up fine. So just be careful. You may want to leave that undrilled, but I much prefer the authenticity with the, you know, with the hole all the way through it. I like the drum magazine on there too. The rear, lots of detail on the eagle and on the cape. Lots of sort of depth to these ribbons, and the symbol on the back of the cape, and the eagle on the right shoulder pauldron. Yeah, lots of depth, lots of detail. Definitely a huge step up from you know, standard sort of shield captain that you get in a plastic set, and I'll show you that there. Whether you think it's worth the extra, I don't know, what, £8 or so, I want to say, if they did price a plastic captain you know, separately. That's obviously for you to decide, but in my opinion, I think it is worth it. It's much like, it's in a similar vein to me paying the £66 for the Contemptor Dreadnought over just getting the £35 plastic one. I think it's a similar step up. So let's do some size comparisons then. So here's an Alaris Terminator. The shield captain is actually taller. That's probably because he is stepping on that stone, but his head is definitely taller, and his gorget, or whatever you want to call it, is taller. Obviously, I mean, look at the size of that axe though. It's just huge. It's much bigger than the spear. And basically this is a shield captain in Alaris Terminator, that's what I've called him. We've got Ixion Hale here, he's not finished, nowhere near finished, very rough paint job. And this shield captain is actually a little bit taller, but that's to be expected because Ixion Hale is coming down some stairs and this guy's putting his foot up. But yeah, if you really want to use a pimped out shield captain, why not go for this £45 one? You can use him as a shield captain. Then your standard plastic shield captain, both great. I mean, the Guardian Spear, the plastic one, is longer. You know, you can see that, but it doesn't have as much of a cutting edge length. It's interesting because on these ones, the magazine is on the bottom of the Guardian Spear, whereas this one is you know, on the top. And then this shield captain, this one's got the axe instead of the spear, so that just gives you a good idea there. The Warden shield captain's quite tall with this helmet. He's definitely taller. I'll just show you some size comparisons with normal, with a normal Space Marine there. So normal Space Marine goes up to the chest piece, I want to say, and then a Primaris. I think that's similar sort of height there. Yeah, very, very similar. If he wasn't stepping on anything, they'd be pretty much the same height. So that just goes to show you how tall Primaris Space Marines are. Okay, so as I mentioned towards the beginning of the video and in the unboxing, there's no reason why you can't use this Legio Custodes shield captain in your Adeptus Custodes army. They're pretty much equipped with the same war gear and things, so in light of that, I'll go through the 40k rules for the shield captain, then I'll go through the Horus Heresy rules, which are basically 7th edition from Book 7 Inferno. So the 40k rules, his power points cost is a 7, his movement is 6 inches, weapon skill 2+, ballistic skill 2+, strength 5, toughness 5, wound 6, attacks 5, leadership 9, and a save of 2+. So very, very decent stat line all around. He's a single model armed with a Guardian Spear, so that means he will be 110 points base, plus the 12 points Guardian Spear, it's 122, plus the Misericordia, which is 4, so it's 126 points, which is very cheap in my opinion. 126 points for something that has strength 5, toughness 5, he's got 6 wounds, 5 attacks, save of 2+, and he's got the 5+ invulnerable. If the Battle Forge, then he's got a 4+ invulnerable. So yeah, very, very decent model for the points. Weapons wise, yeah, he can take the Castellan Axe, which has exactly the same profile as the Guardian Spear for shooting, and he's got a third option of taking a Sentinel Blade instead. Melee wise, the Axe pluses his strength by 3, so it gives him a strength 8, AP -2, damage D3, but the Guardian Spear, although it pluses his strength by 1, so strength 6, he is getting that AP -3, same damage D3 as well. The Sentinel Blade is the same as the Guardian Spear, but doesn't add that 1 to strength, so you're only hitting on the strength 5. If he's equipped with a Sentinel Blade, he can take a Storm Shield 2. His abilities is Aegis of the Emperor, Inspirational Fighter, so you can re-roll hit rolls of 1 made for friendly Custodes units within 6 inches of them. And obviously, yeah, if you equip him with a Storm Shield, then you get 3+ invulnerable. Faction keywords Imperium, Adeptus Custodes, Character, Infantry, and Shield Captain. So how does he compare to the other Shield Captains? Well, I'll be releasing a Shield Captain special video on Friday, showcasing all of the Shield Captains currently available for Adeptus Custodes, and comparing all of them, going through all their stats, their models, and all the rest of it. But comparing it to the one in Alaris Terminator, for instance, he costs less points, he has 1 less wound, and of course he doesn't have that ballistic grenade launcher and he can't teleport in, well, unless you use a stratagem. Comparing him to the one on the Dawn Eagle jet bike, which is the most expensive, that one has a huge movement speed of 14 inches, and again has an extra wound, and a better toughness, and it has access to having that melter missile on its on his Dawn Eagle jet bike. You can also add 6 inches when it advances. So quite a solid choice, quite a cheap HQ choice for your Custodian Guard. It really depends on what kind of style of play you want, whether you want them to teleport in, whether you just want them to be on the ground or in a Land Raider, or now with the beta rules, thankfully, in a Coronis Grav Carrier. It depends on your style of play and where you want to put them on the table. The Shield Captain without the Alaris Terminator or the Dawn Eagle jet bike is a very solid choice. Quite cheap as well, in my opinion, for an HQ unit with all of those abilities and things. He may not be the best for shooting, quite a weak gun in that respect, but survivability, inspiration wise, usefulness in melee, he's definitely up there with the best. What I'll do now is just go through the 7th edition rules, really, in book 7 for Horus Heresy. You'll find him in the Custodes and Sisters of Silence section of the book, not that far from Constantine Valdor. His base points are 190, his weapon skill is 6, ballistic skill 5, strength is 5, toughness 5, he's only got 4 wounds, initiative 6, attacks 5, leadership 10 and a save of 2+. His war gear, yeah, he's got a Guardian Spear, he's got a close combat weapon, an iron halo, plastic and crack grenades, Custodes armour. Special rules, he's got Legio Custodes, bulky Crusader, counter-attack, precision strikes, precision shots and independent character. He can be equipped with the following: melter bombs, array strikes, teleportation transponder, Archaeotech pistol, Presidium shield, digital lasers and a cyber familiar. And he can replace the Guardian Spear with a Sentinel Warblade for free, a Solarite Power Gauntlet for 15 points, a Solarite Power Talon for 15, a pair of Solarite Power Talons for 20, a Pyrothite Spear, of which the reviews for those Custodian Guard are coming next week now, the Adrasite Spear for 10 points, sorry, the Pyrothite Spear is 15 points, the Adrasite Spear for 10 points, or the Paragon Spear for 20 points. A single Legio Custodes Shield Captain in your army may be upgraded to a Legio Custodes Tribune for 25 points, for plus 25 points, so long as the detachment they are part of its 2,000 points or more. If you have him as a Tribune, he has all the rules and options listed, but also gains Fearless and Eternal Warrior special rules. You can also select, rather than randomly determine, a Warlord trait for them. If present in your primary detachment, Tribune must be your Warlord unless Constantine Valdor, Shanisha Kroll or the Emperor of Mankind is also present. Or the Emperor of Mankind. So of course the Emperor of Mankind is your Warlord. But anyway, that's the HQ section in the Book 7 Inferno. If you don't have that book, just gives you a bit of an insight into how well the Shield Captain operates in 7th edition and in the Horus Heresy rules. You can see that he's got a lot more tools to his disposal. Yes, he doesn't have the cast and lax. That's kind of a new thing. I say new thing, but in a way Ixion Hale has an axe, So although he doesn't have the axe, he can still have the Warblade. He's got the power. He can have the Power Gauntlet or the Talon, or he can even upgrade his spear to have a Pyrothite or Adrasite spear. So unfortunately, though, to get those, you're going to have to spend £15 on the set of 5 of them, making this model £45. I'm really hoping that Forge World do make an upgrade sprue. I was hoping that this Shield Captain could have been more customizable, because as he stands, most of his parts can only be put one way. It's quite a monopose miniature, not very customizable in a way. And I was hoping that the model that they did make, you could equip him with, Warblades or different spears like the Pyrothite spears and things like that, because you could have a Shield Captain with an Adrastite spear, with a squad of normal Custodian Guard with Adrastite spears, and then you could have some Sagittarium Guard with the Drathic Destructors, and you pretty much got a Drathic kind of army going on. Then you could have your Agamatus jet bikes, all equipped with Drathic Destructors. You get where I'm going with this. You could pretty much just kit out your Custodian Guard army with Drathic weapons. If you wanted to carry that theme, I think that would be quite a horrific theme. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say about the the Horus Heresy rules for the Shield Captain. What do you guys think of this sort of standalone Shield Captain? Before, the only Shield Captain we could get was Ixion Hale, and he was only available at the HQ or at events for £45. But now you can get a standard resin Custodian Guard model for £30, albeit going to look very similar to everybody else's Shield Captain. What are your thoughts on this model? Please do put it down in the comments below. I really like him. I like the fact that I've now got 3 Custodian Guard without helmets, and they're all quite sort of special. Trajan, Ixion and this Shield Captain. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The Emperor Protects.